He's such a loser. I deserve so much better.
My wife said that about me in front of 40 people at our daughter's graduation dinner. What she didn't know was the envelope in my pocket that would change everything. Thank you for listening. If this story resonated with you, leave a comment below and subscribe to this channel for more cheating wife stories on YouTube.
Loser,
Karen repeated, louder this time, gesturing toward me like I was an exhibit in a museum of disappointment.
27 years I've wasted on this man. 27 years of watching him shuffle off to work, come home exhausted, and fall asleep on the couch. That's not a husband. That's a roommate with a paycheck.
I sat there, my hands folded calmly on the table, watching my wife of nearly 3 decades perform for our audience. My sister Linda had stopped eating entirely. My brother-in-law Mark was gripping his beer bottle like it might save him from drowning. And Emma, my 22-year-old daughter, the whole reason we'd gathered to celebrate, looked like she wanted the floor to swallow her whole. Karen, I said quietly, maybe this isn't the time or place.
Oh, it's exactly the time and place.
She snapped, cutting me off.
I'm done pretending, David. I've met someone who actually sees me, who appreciates me. His name is Jake, and he's right over there.
She pointed toward the bar where a younger man in a tight polo shirt was nursing a drink, looking decidedly uncomfortable. The restaurant had gone completely silent. Even the waiters had stopped moving.
He's my trainer,
Karen continued, her voice taking on an almost dreamy quality.
He understands what it means to live authentically, to pursue your potential, something you've never understood.
I nodded slowly, letting her words hang in the air. Then, to everyone's surprise, including my own, I started to laugh.
What's so funny?
Karen demanded, her eyes narrowing. I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out a plain white envelope with her name written across the front. This is for you, I said, sliding it across the table. Karen stared at it like it might explode.
What is this?
Open it, I said. Since we're sharing everything with everyone tonight, you might as well read it out loud. She snatched the envelope and tore it open. I watched her face transform as she scanned the first page. Confusion, then recognition, then something that looked a lot like fear.
This is...
Her voice faltered. Keep reading, I encouraged her. Page 3 is particularly interesting. Let me explain how we got here. My name is David Harper. I'm 53 years old, and I run quality assurance for a medical device manufacturer in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I inspect surgical instruments for a living, making sure every scalpel and clamp meets the standards that keep people alive on operating tables. It's not glamorous work, but it's honest, and it's kept a roof over our heads for 27 years. Karen and I met in college. She was studying communications. I was in biomedical engineering. She was vibrant and ambitious. I was steady and reliable. For a while, we balanced each other perfectly. After we married, Karen bounced between jobs: marketing, nonprofit work, real estate. Nothing ever stuck. When Emma was born, she stayed home, and I picked up extra shifts to compensate. 50-hour weeks became 60, then 70 during busy seasons. I missed school plays and soccer games. Karen handled the day-to-day. I handled the mortgage, the car payments, Emma's college fund. For 20 years, this arrangement worked. Then Emma left for university, and Karen got restless. She joined a gym, started listening to self-improvement podcasts, and somewhere along the way, she met Jake. 6 months ago, I found a hotel receipt in her purse, a room in Green Bay for a weekend she'd told me she was visiting her mother. "What's this?" I asked her that night, holding up the receipt. She barely glanced at it.
A wellness retreat. I needed some time to myself.
Alone?
Yes, alone.
Her tone was dismissive, almost bored.
You wouldn't understand, David. You're not exactly in touch with your emotional needs.
That night, I called Robert Wallace, a lawyer I'd known since we coached youth baseball together. I asked him a hypothetical question about post-nuptial agreements.
David,
Robert said, seeing right through me.
Timing is everything in these situations. If you're thinking what I think you're thinking, you need to be careful.
So I started paying attention. I watched what Karen said, and, more importantly, what she didn't say. I noticed how she stopped mentioning our future and started talking about my plans. 3 months before graduation, Jake's name surfaced for the first time.
My trainer thinks I should explore a career pivot,
She announced over dinner.
He says I have tremendous untapped potential.
I nodded and said nothing. That night, I started moving money, quietly, legally, into trusts and accounts Karen knew nothing about. 2 weeks before Emma's graduation, I found the smoking gun, a printed email confirming reservations at a resort in North Carolina. 2 guests, check-in date, 3 days after the ceremony. Karen's name and Jake's name, right there in black and white. They'd planned their romantic getaway before she'd even told me she was leaving. I sat there for a long time, not angry, just sad. Sad for what we'd been, sad for what we'd never be again. But beneath the grief, I felt something unexpected. Clarity. I knew exactly what needed to happen next. I printed 3 documents. The post-nuptial agreement Karen had signed 5 years earlier, when we refinanced our home, the same document we'd amended when I inherited my father's lakefront cabin in Michigan, the bank statements showing the trust transfers, and the notices terminating her access to our joint accounts. Now, back to that restaurant.
You bastard!
Karen screamed, her voice cutting through the room like a siren.
You absolute bastard! You can't do this.
I'd suggest lowering your voice, I said calmly. You're making a scene.
I'm making a scene?
She looked around wildly, at Emma's stricken face, at my sister's horror, at her own mother Patricia, who'd flown in from Texas.
You planned this. You knew I was going to…
She stopped, realizing she couldn't finish that sentence without admitting she'd intended to humiliate me publicly.
This can't be legal,
she said, her voice losing its edge.
You can't just move our money without telling me.
I moved my money, I corrected her, according to the post-nuptial agreement you signed 5 years ago, the one your lawyer reviewed when we refinanced the house, and again when my father's estate transferred the cabin to me. Karen turned toward Jake at the bar.
Tell them,
she demanded.
Tell them what we discussed.
Jake looked like he wanted to disappear. This wasn't what they'd rehearsed. They'd expected me to sit there, humiliated and speechless. Legal documents hadn't been part of their script. You can go, I told him, but Karen might want to finish reading first, especially page 3. Karen's hands were shaking as she flipped to the 3rd page. The color drained from her face.
The house,
she whispered. Belongs to Emma now, I said. As of yesterday, along with the cabin, the boat, and most of our savings. You'd be amazed what proper estate planning can accomplish.
Dad,
Emma said softly.
what's happening?
I turned to my daughter. Your mother wants to start a new life. I'm making sure she can do that without taking yours with her. Patricia, Karen's mother, spoke up.
What hotel receipt is he talking about?
Karen told me she attended a wellness retreat, I explained. The retreat existed only in her imagination. Jake was the guest instructor.
Karen Elizabeth.
Patricia said, wielding her daughter's full name like a weapon.
You explain yourself right now.
Karen dissolved into tears.
I didn't plan for this to happen. I felt trapped, invisible. David was always working.
So your solution was to betray your husband? Patricia's voice could have etched glass. Jake had started backing away from the table.
I should probably go,
he mumbled. That seems wise, I agreed. He left without another word, practically sprinting for the exit. Karen watched him go and sobbed harder. Robert finally spoke.
The post-nuptial agreement is ironclad. The infidelity clause nullifies claims to marital assets.
What about alimony?
Karen demanded.
Karen,
Robert said carefully.
you just announced to a room full of witnesses that you're leaving David for your trainer. You've handed him everything he needs for an at-fault divorce.
But I gave up my career.
You worked part-time jobs.
Emma said quietly.
Dad paid for everything.
I stood up and placed cash on the table. We're done here, Karen. You wanted your moment, and you got it. Now you get to find out what something better looks like when you're 49, with no job, no money, and no husband. Patricia shook her head at her daughter.
You made your choice, Karen. Live with it.
Emma and I walked out together. In the parking lot, she finally broke down, sobbing against my shoulder. None of this is your fault, I told her. Your graduation was perfect. That's what matters. The rest is just noise. 3 days later, Karen called.
David, we need to talk. About fixing this.
There's nothing to fix, I said. You made your choice.
Things with Jake. They've fallen apart. He said I'm too old for him.
I almost laughed. That's not my problem anymore.
David, please, I made a mistake. I'll do anything.
Then stop calling me. I hung up. Her attorney later claimed the post-nuptial was signed under duress, a claim that collapsed when Robert, 2 bank officers, and Karen's own lawyer confirmed they'd witnessed her signature. The divorce finalized quickly. I threw myself into work and reconnected with friends I'd neglected during those long years of overtime. The house felt different without Karen. Quieter, calmer, more like a home than a battlefield. 6 months later, Emma showed up with 2 beers while I was fixing the fence.
Mom called again.
She said.
She's working at a fitness center in Kenosha, part-time. She asked if she could come for Christmas.
What did you tell her?
I told her she made her choice.
That's my girl. We sat on the porch drinking our beers, watching the sun set over property that belonged to us now. Just us.
Do you miss her?
Emma asked. I thought about it. I miss who I thought she was, but I don't miss the woman who tried to destroy us both in that restaurant.
Good.
Emma said.
Because Jake dumped her for someone younger.
How do you know that?
Rachel told me. She works at the gym.
I started laughing, couldn't help it.
That's not funny, Dad.
No, I said, wiping my eyes. It's poetic justice. Karen had gotten exactly what she'd pursued, a chance to discover if the grass was really greener. Turned out it wasn't even close. My father used to say, character isn't forged during comfortable times. It's revealed when everything falls apart. The worst night of my marriage became the foundation for the strongest chapter of my life. I had my daughter, my home, my peace. And I wasn't looking back. Thank you for listening. Like the video and subscribe for more cheating wife stories on YouTube and inspirational stories about finding the strength to start over.